Hi, hello everyone. Happy Holi. Hope all of you enjoyed with many colors with your kids and family and relatives. So let's get into our topic, which is very interesting, which is which board should I select for my kids' education? Very interesting question most of the parents will have during the admission times, because when you go to world schools and international schools, they'll use lot of different terminologies which we don't understand. We only understand the figures that they give at the end. So I happened to do some research on the different boards a week back, because I also want to change my kids' school from CBSE to any other board, because this is the right time to check if she is having a quality learning or not. So I did some research which I'll be sharing with you, should be helpful for all of you. So primarily guys, we have four boards in India supported by Indian schools here. CBSE we all know, IGCSE, ICSE, IB. So all the other boards other than CBSE are of one category. I will call them as ICE until this video ends. IGCSE, ICSE, IB. So all the I's. These three are different from CBSE. How they are different are the type of learning, the type of teaching, and also the kind of career that the children want to choose also matters depending upon the board. So we will talk about all of them one by one. So firstly, when it comes to CBSE, what I understood is it is more about one way teaching from teacher to the student. Basically, the teacher gives you a problem and there is a formula to resolve it, and at the end the student will resolve it using the formula. And if needed, they mug up that formula and then they reproduce that in the evaluation tests. So at the end, the teachers are bothered about the results, not a very focused way of teaching, where they'll put a focus on whether the kid have understood why should I divide, why should I apply division in my real time life, or where should I apply basically, and how should I apply. So exactly this understanding can be given in CBSE, but the focus is not on that. The focus is more about, did you solve the problem with the expected speed and accuracy, and did you memorize the formula or not. That's the focus based on the assessments that CBSE does. And when it comes to any other board, which is ICE, IGCSE, ICSE, IB, they focus on holistic learning, meaning they focus on the personality development along with the learning ability of the kid, meaning learning with proper sense. Meaning, if there is a concept of division, here the concept term comes in, because when it comes to CBSE, I use division because division is division, because I use a formula for it and I get the result. That's it. But when it comes to other boards, concept is what they would expect from the student. So they have different kind of evaluations, and every time the performance is checked based on how much the concept went into the kid, how much did they understand. How do they do, if you ask me? If there is a chapter of division in CBSE, you will have one exercise where you will have half of them on numerical and half of them on, say, numerical in the sense, let's say 80 divided by 2, 40 divided by 30, something like that. So half will be on that part, and other half would be mostly on the practical examples, like what if there are 50 chocolates divided by 10 of your friends, how many each would get. So this is like a practical example, but half and half. But when it comes to the other boards, you can see numerous examples of the questions where everything will be on practical knowledge based, application based knowledge. Most of the questions you will have at least 2 to 3 exercises where there will be a lot of questions on how you apply division. And even on the assessments also, they will make sure that how much is the knowledge that you have acquired from the theory. So IB especially focus mostly on the understanding piece of it. When you compare between the I's, IB mostly focuses on the understanding. They expect not the result but the understanding. So that's how the IB education focuses on. And even on IGCSE and ICSE also, they focus on the understanding piece and overall holistic development. And it comes to holistic development, they focus on the personality traits as well, like the critical thinking of the kids, or the problem solving skills of the kids, or the decision making skills, or mm, the ability for them to work as a team, work as a group, and how they are responding to the society. So all of these skills will be touched in all the curriculum that you have either in IGCSE or ICSE or IB. When it comes to CBSE, CBSE is also getting up to speed, but then the teachers also have to be trained. There's a long way that teachers have to be trained on it, and it takes a lot of effort to get to that state. So this is all about what kind of different educations that we have. And regarding the boards and the authorities on the acknowledgement piece of these boards, CBSE and ICSE, both of these are acknowledged by Indian government. So Indian Council of Education. So school certificate, sorry. So Indian Council of School Certificate. So these two boards are actually ICSE and CBSE are actually under the Indian Council of School Certificate. And when it comes to IGCSE, it is again recognized and modified, or modulated by Cambridge University. And when it comes to IB, IB is an international board. They call it as a framework, which is based out of Geneva, Switzerland, and it is globally recognized very well in terms of the framework that they focus. It's excellent in terms of understanding the internal concepts and making sure the focus is on the kids learning other than the results basically. And when it comes to the accessibility, expenses, and the careers, when it comes to these all four boards, CBSE, no doubt you have everywhere, each and most of the schools are into CBSE. You have n number of availability of schools there which support CBSE. But when it comes to the other eyes, you have limited number of schools on IB, ICSE, and IGCSE. But they are also increasing day by day. Comparative to IB, IGCSE, IGCSE has good number because Cambridge have expanded its arena everywhere globally, a much known board everywhere. And IB is getting into slowly. More and more people are understanding its importance, and then they are improving on the number of schools. But it is also into the market today. So when it comes to the expenses, all the eyes are expensive, guys. CBSE is a little bit affordable. All the international schools gives a lot of expenses just because of these international educations, because they also charge it, and also they also have to train their teachers as well to understand the way how they have to teach and what they have to expect, because we can expect how the teachers would have been trained in their childhood, because they are all mostly into CBSE, and the CBSE trained teachers have to train for IGCSE board. Then obviously they'll have to have good training and good guidance, so that is where they charge it a little higher. And now coming into career, so whom we have to put in which board, career and capabilities basically. So when it comes to CBSE, any competitive exam in India, within India, you can actually crack it easier comparative to the other boards. So if your kid is in CBSE, let's say an average kid in CBSE can crack a competitive exam easily compared to the average kid who is in the other boards, because the memory speed is what it is matters in the competitive exams, and they would get used to that from childhood anyhow, when they are in the CBSE board. When it comes to the all other eyes that you have, they don't focus on memory and speed, they would only focus on the concept. So when your kid have to get into the competitive exams, then it will be a little bit tougher thing, because they are used to concept based learning and not result oriented. So they would definitely have some difficulty in getting into the competitive exams. And the other part is on the syllabus part. When it comes to the CPSC, you have a prescribed list of books that are there for each and every standard. And on the other eyes, unless it is ICSC, there is a lot of widespread of curriculum that we have for each standard, each program, I would say, that are given by IB and IGCSE. The students or teachers can make an option for the students based on their interests. So there are a lot of subjects on arts, computer technologies, they call it ICT, or economics, or they focus on science and technology as well. So depending upon the language, basically language is the other very important thing, or different factors that we can look at the students' capability and suggest which one they want to choose. There's a wide area that the kids can go and then look at their capabilities and choose. So that's the advantage that you have in the IGCSE and IB boards. But unlike ICSE, which is supported by Council of Indian School Certificate, Indian School Certificate have the same curriculum that you have with the CBSE, but you will have additional subjects which you would have to opt for, which would cover on again on the additional subjects like arts, or you will have music, or you will have other dance, physical capabilities that we can see. And but then mostly on the other part it is common. There is a wide variety of options that you can have in IB and IGCSE. So let's get into the careers part of it. If you want your kid to be an IITian within India, to support India, or to be a scientist in India, or to be an engineer in India, within India, everything within India, you have to go through the competitive exams for sure, and you have to deal with memory and speed. So CBSE is the best one. And if you want your kids to study abroad, and if you want your kids to have higher adaptability, there are two options you have. One is IGCSE, which is supported by Cambridge University. It has, as I said, it has a very good recognition across the globe with multiple universities, which are top-notch universities. They encourage the IGCSE qualification. So they give a lot of value to IGCSE compared to any other boards, and it will help, and it will also add value if your kid is going to go abroad, and it will help on GRE, TOEFL, these kind of examinations as well, on the concept and on the mode of that examination as well. And the other one is the IB. So on the IB as well, you will have the advantage of having the having your kids added advantage on having getting into higher studies. Sorry. So only thing, the advantage you can see in IB is that's not the only thing, that's everything, is about the adaptability and the knowledge that your kid will acquire. Meaning, I'll just take 2 more minutes on IB because IB specifically focuses on lot of 21st century skills that every kid have to face the fast growing world, which will turn up to be very very tough for them tomorrow. Unexpected scenarios would come, and they will have to solve problems which they haven't thought about, or they haven't thought about also. So with the world growing so fast, with getting everything automated today, the formulas, everything can be fed into the computer, and there's no necessity for a person who come and sit and write a formula and then resolve a problem there. It could be any field, it could be medical field or engineering field. Medical prescriptions also today, if you give what is the disease, you get the prescription automatically. So there are a lot of softwares that have come up with. And when it comes to mechanical engineering, you have robotic engineering, that everything is automatic with a program, just a simple program. So basic formulas, basic understanding is necessary, but there is somebody who does already for that. But where is that we make our kid to be different and make a value to whoever the employer they go and work, is that the difference is that the adaptability they take up, and the critical thinking they take up, and the decision making skills and leadership skills that they take up will make them different in any kind of firm that they go and work tomorrow. So it's very important for us to make sure that they get into that knowledge eventually. So knowledge is what they need to attain, rather just going through the lessons and by hearting is definitely not going to help. So when it comes to IB, it is more of preparing your kid for the future, which is everything getting automatically in autopilot mode. So that is how I have understood on all of these boards, and overall I have decided to see if at all I can get my kid into IB board, because I want to make sure her future should be in a way that whatever could be the situations in tomorrow's employability options that she will be faced with, but she should be able to adapt to things and then find out something which works for her. That's one thing. And also other thing is she's not so great at memory or speed, which I observed, because there's very less focus on today's studies and all. So whatever she focuses, she keeps in mind, but then when it comes to application based works like activities and all, she shows a lot of interest, and especially arts and these things, she show a lot of interest. That's why I thought IB is a good one for her, because she is not a piece of CBSE where she will go with memory and speed. I don't see that at all in her chemistry overall. So that's how I evaluated for my kid, that I have to go with IB. Not necessarily if you go with IB, you cannot write the competitive exams in India, or you should go to abroad. There's nothing like that. IB is just a framework. So it just makes sure that you have your kid understood what is what. So the way of learning differs, that's all. But when it comes to IGCSE, then obviously it is mostly emphasized on languages and different cultures, etc., where obviously it is for higher studies. That's why I did not choose IGCSE. And why not ICSE? ICSE, again, it has the same holistic learning, but the emphasis is more on English language when it comes to ICSE evaluations and all. That's why I thought English anyways will be covered in IB, obviously, and they have a lot of activities and all which can be covered automatically. The communication speeds, everything will be covered in IB. So that's why I thought IB is having everything, and I'm thinking I will go for IB for my kid. That's the decision I made. I have to still choose the school now. Yeah, that's the whole story of different boards. I think it went little lengthy, but I think it will be useful for all of you. And yeah, with that, I hope this video is helping you. And thank you guys See you.